Hey everybody, it's Therefore here. I'm probably gonna put some gameplay of Team Fortress 2 in the background. I've been playing a lot of that. But I wanted to try a new style of video where I just talk over some gameplay footage. The talking isn't related. So now that I think about it, it's just a commentary. Like some of the greats have done in the past. But yeah, what I wanted to talk about was something I was just bringing up to my girlfriend. I was talking about art and the way it makes me feel. So, one crazy thing, my most crazy view that I hold in art, probably the most controversial thing that I think, is that art should be detached from its artists. And what I mean by that is that I feel the art should speak for itself, and you shouldn't need to know who made it in order to enjoy something. Now, that might seem kind of self-explanatory. I know what you're thinking, Jake, what the hell? That's obviously art should be good on its own. Why would I need to read the author's name? Well, it's because of William Shakespeare. Yeah, him. That's right. I bet that most of his plays wouldn't get a millionth of the viewership if it wasn't from William Shakespeare. Like if some Joe Schmo writes up, Caesar today, then people will be like, oh yeah, that was alright, but it's no William Shakespeare. Because people like to think that, oh, I understand art, I understand the brilliance of William Shakespeare, I just understand him. But when Joe Schmo takes credit for William Shakespeare's work, it is no longer William Shakespeare's work. It's work from Joe Schmo. And Joe Schmo, he's not really an intellectual, so clearly he couldn't produce anything of such wondrous value that Shakespeare has, I think that things like modern art have to stand for themselves, because people can't tell the difference between when a kid mimics a piece of modern art, some abstract art where it's like a cube on what are those called? It's like the painting thing, a canvas, or a banana on a billboard. Like, oh wow, that sure is abstract, but does it really make you feel some way? Let me think about that. Did some genius make it? Oh, he did? Well, it really makes me feel some way. I feel like a lot of people that go to art museums would show up and be like, oh wow, that's so thoughtful, that's so inspiring, when they see a red circle on a piece of paper. But then you find out, oh, it was just Jimmy posted up his piece of paper onto the wall with a piece of tape. This isn't one of the displays. I feel like I think I've heard a news story like that before, where everybody gathered around some quote-unquote piece of art, and they were like, oh wow, this is so good, even though it wasn't intended to be art. Not that you can't find art in unintended things. I think a lot of things have artistic merit that aren't necessarily supposed to be art. For example, a lot of nature really speaks to people. When you go on a camping trip and you feel one with nature, you feel right. That's nature's art, that's natural art. Or the way birds sing. I guess that's another form of nature being art. I feel like the way people set up their rooms can be art, because when you walk into somebody's room, that's the environment that they've created. They've made this environment, and they're presenting it to you by hosting you in their home. You walk in there and you get a certain experience from what they've made of it. Like if there's trash all over the floor but it smells really good, that might remind you of something. That might make you go back to your days where you had a really trashy room and you remember somebody that lit a lot of incense, and it brings all these memories back, just like a painting of like a cottage would. When you think of like, oh, a cottage, I remember when my grandma made me apple pie in the cottage. Like that one scene in Ratatouille, you know, with the guy, with the guy that looked at that ate the pie thing, and he's like, oh my god, I remember when I was eating pie. But yeah, another thing I wanted to comment on is that I think art can be found in a lot of different things. I remember in my English class, I had to answer a prompt that asked, are video games art? And it's just ridiculous to me that people are so close-minded to think that only like, oh, like music and paintings, those are art. Pretty much nothing else. Maybe like theater, maybe ballet, but nothing else. No, man, that's crazy. Like, the video games are full of art. Texture, that's art. Map design, that's art. Game direction, that's art. Voice acting, sound design, programming in its own way. I mean, think about that. When you open Microsoft Word, that's an experience somebody is granting to you. They're creating a memory in your mind. That's like going to an aquarium. You know, you're not gonna deny me architecture is art, but that's only because when you go into a building, you are entranced by how it was made. You are being put in your own environment where like somebody designed every little aspect of it. They thought of how it'll make you feel. And the same thing happens with a game. Like when you play a video game, the way you play it, you the player, can be art. I mean, have you seen some of these structures people are building in Minecraft? It's crazy. What about just the way people can orate in VR chat? Hey, relevant topic. It's the art of playing a game well. I think it could be artistic the way a sports player plays their sport. Because they're making their own thing. They're honing this skill to make an experience worth watching. And if you don't think that's art, you're wrong. Movies are art. Art is art. Paintings are art. Photography is art. There's a lot of kinds of art. The people that design your little dental floss package, that's some graphic design, baby. That's art. So yeah, the point of this video is I just want people to be a little bit more open-minded about art and like take it for how it is. Kind of remove the author from your headspace. Think, what would I think of this work if that like stupid kid from next door that made me watch him play Balloons Tower Defense for like 3 hours made this? Would I still think it's good? Does the art really speak for itself? Would this art make me want to be that kid's friend again? Give him a second chance? Maybe this time he won't sit me down at his computer and make me watch him play Balloons Tower Defense for like 5 hours. Like seriously, who does that? I was talking earlier about how hosting people isn't like your own art. That was not art. Let me tell you what. If that was art, that was bad art. There exists bad art. Trust me. That was the worst art I've ever seen. I mean, you know, with this broad definition, I guess a lot of things are art. So, the only things I'm gonna consider not art are things that are really bad and don't really speak to me. And that includes that kid that made me sit next to him and watch him play Balloons Tower Defense. I mean, come on. That is not cool. I do not come over. He's like, oh, you want to play video games? Yeah, I want to play video games. I like playing video games. That's my thing. And then no, it's me watching him play a video game. Like you, right now, watching me play a video game. except I don't know, I'm just talking over it. Like this voice is just like disembodied from the game because I'm gonna play a game later to make footage for this. Hopefully the gameplay's good enough to give you something to watch, but you know, if it's bad, then hey, you could just put this on like as a podcast while you're cooking or driving or something. Maybe I'll make a playlist of commentaries for you guys to listen to in the future. But yeah, I think that's gonna wrap it up for today. Hopefully this is like under 20 minutes because you know what, these to be neat. I want them to be a neat little package. Time for my crazy outro.